Welcome. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family, and we are so delighted that you've welcomed us into your home. You know that we would love to hear from you, so send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. And today we're welcoming back Nell Andrzejewski to our show. Now, Nell is an experienced shrine guide who has traveled the whole world, explored far-flung cities around the world, and since 2010, she has specialized in our United States, all of the backyard beauties by directing Catholic Church tours, a unique non-for-profit dedicating to opening up hundreds of Catholics to sacred spaces to those who want to explore. So now on EWTN's Hidden Gems, Catholic Shrines in America, she walks viewers through centuries of American history while showcasing the beauty and the relevance of our national Catholic sacred spaces. So she brings it all home to me and you. You might be in a nursing home. You might be retired. You might not be able to travel and to go. They're coming to you, so you get to participate in this. You can have your own personal pilgrimage right there at home. So today, Nell's going to be sharing with us all about the Hidden Gems show, and that you can watch on EWTN Plus or EWTN.com, and if you're just watching on your regular channels, Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on EWTN. And you could go out to our website, CatholicChurchTours.com. And we had a wonderful show with Nell yesterday, and it was very enriching. And today we're going to take it further and find out a little bit more about the history and the beauty of these wonderful shrines, where they are. Some of us don't even know where they are.
Remember, EWTN is only made possible by the support and generosity of viewers like you. If EWTN has strengthened your faith or blessed your family, we humbly ask you to prayerfully consider making a financial gift to EWTNmission.com so we may continue to bring Christ's message to the world. As Mother Angelica used to say, please keep us between your gas and electric bill. We can't do this without you. You can go to EWTNmission.com to donate. And thank you all who have already given and all of you that continue to pray for this network. So we bring plenty of shows, especially this new one, Hidden Gems, which is absolutely beautifully done, very instructive. It's really an encounter, so it's not just a documentary, it's alive. And the reason why it is a shrine is kind of connecting with you. You might want to visit these sites, or you might be able to do things remotely and say, I just resonate with that particular shrine. What's happening there? Something happens to me when I'm seeing this. So there's plenty more to come. We'll be right back. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, our guest today is Nell Andrzejewski, and she is the host of EWTN's Hidden Gems, Catholic Shrines in America. You can go out to our website, CatholicChurchTours.com, and you can always watch Hidden Gems on EWTN Plus, EWTN.com, and remember, always on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern on the EWTN channel.
And all the shows are up there.
Yes.
If you go, just put in Hidden Gems, EWTN, it takes you right to the listing. So like us, we just saw kind of an introduction to it. We didn't see any of the shows. And there's like 6 or 7 shows that are there. And so we watched several of those shows. And I just think, I was saying to you, back in the green room, I could just really see these shows being used on Sundays for adult education. Like say, hey, we're gonna do 5 weeks of going to different shrines, and here's the name of these shrines. Divine Mercy might be your thing, you're really interested in. miraculous medal, you're like, what the heck is that about?
Right.
You're going to learn about it, and all these different things. And we're just going to, this is beautiful, it's instructive, it's educational, and this is what we're going to do for 5 weeks, you know, on
Yeah,
Sunday.
it really is. I think each episode is layered with the story of the shrine itself, that local story that makes it part of our national fabric.
Yeah.
And then it takes it out into the greater, the greater story of whatever that devotion is that warrants a particular place within the larger construct of our church as a whole. Some of them are in churches, literally a shrine in another church, a parish church, but they're always their own particular entity. Even if they are a standalone shrine where someone would come. So a shrine being this place of devotion, this place of renewal, this place of healing. A lot of times people go for like interior healing. I'm not feeling well spiritually, or I'm not feeling well physically, or I'm not feeling well emotionally. I can come here and find peace. And really, these places, they are oases of peace in a chaotic world. Or in a world that's just kind of lame. In a world that does not have order and doesn't have an internal order and does not know where it's going.
In a world that has so much noise and no peace.
Right.
And that's the beauty. You know, we go to the cathedral and here in downtown Birmingham. For me, to enter into the cathedral, it is sacred space. It's saying I'm coming out from this world and leaving all the noise behind me. And the veil between heaven and earth is just a little bit closer. Right? And so it takes you in. It's to change your life. You're to have a moment and time with God where you're going to encounter him, and then the building's the same, the sacred space is the same, but you go out having encountered something, and you're a different person.
Beautifully said.
Isn't that the point of going to shrines and cathedrals and beautiful places?
Very much so. Even if you don't know what you want or what you need, you go out of your way to listen, to participate in something greater than yourself, to explore somewhere something new and different, to encounter someone greater than you are. And that is really the goal and the purpose of a shrine. And it's really in a very ordinary way, in a very natural. God uses nature. He uses what he uses what he's given us in order to bring us to him. So some of these places are really remarkably lovely places of nature. I'm thinking of the first show, the Miraculous Medal Shrine, Our Lady of the Miraculous Medal in Missouri. There are outside gardens and areas to walk. Many of these places actually do have outdoor spaces already incorporated with the shrine. But people come. Some people come regularly, you know, they live in the area and this is where they walk. Other people come as like, no, this is my annual pilgrimage. I'm gonna go get out of my own, you know, overcome my inertia and go find this place of stillness. I'm thinking also of one that really lovely exterior outdoor place. I love nature. And this one really resonated with me, was the North American Martyrs Shrine, Our Lady of the Martyrs in right outside of Albany, New York, in Arisville. And that's where St. Isaac Jogues and his companion Jean Brebeuf were martyred. So they had a machete. Sorry, not a machete, a tomahawk to their head. That's how they ended their lives, but in love for their brothers. St. Isaac Jogues had a chance to leave, and he did. He escaped from his slavery, but he came back because those people who abused him had become his family, and he wanted them to have Jesus. So that place, I'm talking about his story, but he lived in the outdoors along with his tribesmen, and that was his place of really living and conquering evil as it was at that time in that place. And so when you go there, the peace that he brought there still resides there. And it's just gorgeous. It's just hilly valley outside, picnic place outside of the city. And lots of space to move around.
Well, you're making some great points, and they're very diverse. So to go to a site like that, you know, where a martyr's blood was shed there, and for evangelistic love for souls, and that he's there. You know, we visit that place, and the power and residue is alive there. So it's kind of like, for me, you know, going there, like, what am I doing regarding evangelization? Am I afraid to speak to anybody? Like, this happened here. And you pray to that saint, or you pray to that martyr. You know, pray that I'd be more lovingly bold, you know, with people. The other point you're making that I think is really good, and I just really didn't think of until I saw the one, Our Lady of La Leche. There was a priest that was sharing during that, and he says, we have very dedicated Catholics who come here. So I said, yeah, well, that's why people go to shrines. They're dedicated. Because then we have Catholics that aren't very dedicated. And I said, oh my gosh, is he saying that? You see, they just come and they're just drawn for various reasons, and they come here. And that's what you're saying. You can have non-believers come. I bet people go to Lourdes that aren't even Catholics, but I'm into healing. I need help.
Oh, yeah.
And so for whatever reason you want to go, it's just like, well, just come. I mean, God allows you just to come here.
Yeah.
And that atmosphere just begins to touch them.
I think everybody, like you had mentioned, you come, and whether you know it or not, whenever you're in front of what is holy, it changes who you are. The residue of that just remains with you as you leave. So,
and God honors the grace of seeking. Right? You just, I'm just looking. I don't even know what I'm looking for. I've gone on spiritual retreats and I've had no agenda. I just want to meet Jesus. And Jesus knows what I went through in the past couple of years of my life, my losses, my sorrows. And it's like, Lord, I don't have an agenda, but I just bring you me.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
And so I think the beauty of a pilgrimage and that seeking for non-Catholic, and then grace shows up, and then God does something, because you know, all these shrines and all these beautiful places, they've come from the laity. The people of God built those places, right? I mean, you know, where did that money come from? It came from the people.
Oh, and the stories of where the money shows up, it's hilarious to me. I mean, I'm glad I'm not the one who is sweating it when they're like, oh shoot, we said we were going to do this and it's not happening, and we don't have the roof over the top of this. And, and then the money shows up.
Right.
Someone opens their heart and their wallet at the same time and says, here.
Right.
The plaques, really, I've started to pay attention to this, the plaques, the donation plaques in these places, because that's evidence of the communion of saints.
Right.
And there's different ways that shows the love of Christ. Is like, oh, we have this restored because of this person, or we have this built because of this committee. You know, they thought about this,
right?
And they want this here permanently for other people because they know the effect of what is here.
Our Lady of the Martyrs, you were sharing about that earlier, and what were the years then, like 1700s? What was the year for the Jesuits?
That was about, really, he died 380 years ago.
Okay. So that place is
46,
old.
Yeah.
Okay, so you talk about having it established, but you were mentioning as well that there seems to be renewal that's taking place there.
Yes.
Because I think people who have been there, they haven't been there for many years. It might be like you might want to go back and see what's happening.
Right. It's like the digs in St. Augustine, Florida.
Right.
Like for a while, like nobody knew what was there. It was kind of covered over. Now the university is uncovering it, and they're saying, oh my gosh, this is where the Timucua people were, and this is where they lived with the Spaniards, and this is where Our Lady of Leche is being honored. Well, in Arsville, in New York, for a time it was the shrine was not able to be kept up. You know, first of all, nobody knew it wasn't a shrine. You know, and so there's that story of discovery. So if you watch the episode, you can see how the shrine became a shrine, and how this place where our first American martyr lived and gave his life before the United States was the United States. You know, that place was not even known until someone started thinking about it. So you can see the story. But then more recently, after it became a shrine, it was not able to be kept up. And so there was a group of lay people who came together and said, you know, this is really important to our Catholic family. This is my brother in Christ, my father in Christ, Father Isaac Jogues, who came and showed me how to be courageous in the face of great evil, or in the face of customs that were harsh. And so I think, you know, with this group of lay people who came together, they took this under their responsibility, which is a big responsibility, and it takes a community to say, no, we're going to preserve this, and we're, all of these shrines are preserved. There's something here that's preserved, but it's not for preservation's sake.
Right.
It's not like, put in a little glass bottle, just to, it's not a museum. None of these places are museums. They might have a museum there that has some things that helps you educate, definitely.
They were alive.
But yes, exactly. Yeah. These are interactive, very living places.
Share with us about this one, Padre Pio. He's such a beloved saint. Is it Padre Pio Center in Bartow, Pennsylvania?
Yes, the Padre Pio Center in Bartow, Pennsylvania. It's a little bit like going to Italy if you go to visit. It's a reproduction of his chapel of San Giovanni in Rotondo in Bartow, Pennsylvania, on this really open land. A farmer, here's again, as someone who donated something, donated his land, donated his fields in order for this to be established. And this wasn't like centuries ago. This was back in the 60s or 70s. Wow. Yeah. And the family, there was a family in the United States who is, you got to watch the show. Yes. To make a long story short, the family was greatly affected personally by Padre Pio's direct intercession. And in relationship with Padre Pio, who had passed, afterwards they're saying, no, we still want him to be known because he is this gift of life and gift of sacrifice and this example that we need here in the United States. And so they have dedicated their lives, their family, to making this place available. It has the most relics of Padre Pio outside of Italy. So you have Padre Pio's glove where he bled, or his shirt that he wore at night, and you can see still on it the marks haven't faded away. They even have a car in there that was like, it's not Padre Pio's car that he would be moved around in, but it is the exact little mini Italian car.
We're going to take a break at this point. That's a great story. And so we'll have several minutes left. Just be thinking about what you want to share and what you want to lead us to. And so it's watch Hidden Gems on EWTN Plus, EWTN.com, Sundays, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It's absolutely beautiful. It's instructive. These shrines are alive. You'll be connecting with them. You will be blessed, you and your family. So we'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Don't go away. Welcome back. We're wrapping up our conversation with Nell Andrzejewski and Hidden Gems. What a blessing this is to have these new shows on EWTN, and it's really adding a dimension to what we're broadcasting that's so very, very special. So you have several minutes, and just your thoughts on why Hidden Gems, why people should tune in, the benefits they might receive.
Well, do we need hope? Do we need perspective? Do we need a place of renewal? This is all what these shrines provide for us, is a depth, a richness of our history and our Catholic family. It's not just one place or one type or another. It's all of these different locations that we go to. I think it really opens up this connection between God and us through these different devotions and through this faith that has been planted. It's not just like a temporary sort of thing. This is the gift that we've been inheriting, and I love it because it's the United States. This is on our ground, and runs deep all the way through back to the apostles, all the way back through to Jesus. And I think people come for healing. I mean, I know they come for healing. They come for hope. They come for something different. I want something different, and that is quite satisfying to go to a shrine and find the order there and learn something new and encounter other people who also are on their own journeys, wherever they might be. as they travel through.
Yeah. And to enter into all the people who've gone before you, who have prayed before you even got there, and you enter into that, you know, and now you become a part of that history, of that journey, of everything that is good and true and beautiful, and God just blesses all of that. And because this world, I mean, as crazy as this world is, we are below base in how we're being and doing as human beings, and we need to be lifted up. I mean,
these are great places. These are great examples of the reality of goodness. It really is. People are good, and these places really reflect that. In spite of all the challenges, in spite of the tomahawk to the head for St. Isaac Jogues, in spite of the difficulties of plague or sickness or you know, our own inability, you see God's primacy, and in these places. And I mean, you can, you know, they say read a book, if, you know, read the book before you watch the movie in order to get the real, you know, the real story. But I'm saying, like, watch the movie, watch the episodes before you go travel there, because this will give you a full perspective of what the history is, what the backstory is, what the details are you're seeing. And then when you'll get there and you'll have your own experience of space, which I think is obviously very important. But
well, Nell, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for this, among the newest shows for EWTN, and more than a show, it really is an encounter. It's beautiful, it's instructive, and so just welcome to the EWTN family and what you're offering in this. It's really going to enrich the church and bring renewal. So thank you.
Thank you.
So go watch Hidden Gems, Catholic Shrines in America on EWTN Plus, EWTN.com, and Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the EWTN channel. These shrines may be from many years ago, but they're alive in the here and in the now. And they seem to unite heaven and earth and the communion of saints. You're an important part of this EWTN family. You're never alone, and you're always at home with Jim and Joy. Bye now.